This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text the show on 81215, by the way. You can follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio at your leisure. And you can email the show via the Absolute Radio website if you have a mind to, as we would have said back home.
Morning, boys.
Good morning.
I like at your leisure and if you over mind.
all
transatlantic today.
Exactly. It's always good to have alternatives because you don't know who you're going to meet. You could be in a bureau de change, for example, and you never know who's going to come in next and from whence.
Do you still get the... I miss the bureau de change.
You know what? I've had a whole burst of... You know, I used to do a thing on this show called Whatever Happened To.
Yeah.
And this was, as some of you may have guessed, this was the jingle. Whatever happened to... And then it would be a thing that I hadn't seen for a long time. And I sort of had a few this week come to my mind. But the Bureau de Change, I thought still...
I think
I think it still exists, doesn't it? Otherwise, where do people get their change?
I think it exists, but I imagine I don't know, I imagine people are less likely to take too much cash abroad with them,
well,
see.
People still use cash.
Yeah, but you thought it was a revelation to you maybe 6 months ago that travellers' checks were a thing of the past.
I know. Well, I had a long conversation at a New York hotel desk about they wouldn't cash my travellers' checks. I didn't even mention the luncheon vouchers. But, Bureau de Change. If I... And one never writes this off, you know, I used to have an enormous drinking problem. If I was homeless, I would sit outside a Bureau de Change. That would be my slot. And as people came in and out, I'd say, have you got any spare change, please? Just so I still had a bit of comedy in my life, even in that period of hardship and perhaps loneliness.
Goodness.
If there's any homeless people listening, you can have that.
It might lead to you having lots of small denomination foreign coins, though, which may not be ideal for the
that is
purchases
true.
that you're hoping to make.
That is true.
Lovely euphemism there, Al. The purchases you're hoping to make.
I like it.
I think we all know what the purchase is.
I didn't know what his tipple of choice would be in this hypothetical.
Well, no, it wouldn't be. If I wouldn't be doing that, of course, if I was home. I'd be mainly crisps. I've always dreamt of living on crisps. You know how is it Nick Cage who is in a film where he goes to New York to drink himself to death?
808 Absolute Radio.
Is it Leaving Las Vegas? It could well be. And I've always thought Las Vegas. I've got that to fall back on if things go wrong for me. I can go to West Bromwich and drink myself to death.
Okay, well, it's lovely to know.
Yeah.
How is everyone?
Well, I think you gotta have a dream. If you ain't got a dream, how you gonna have a dream? I don't know if you can sing that song anymore. I think it's been written off as...
Is it problematic?
I think it's problematic, yeah.
Okay. Can I tell you...
You can sing it in the voice I was thinking. Well, I think it's... I can't even discuss the grounds without putting all our careers on the line.
We can't discuss the grounds, but I would like to...
I haven't heard that since I worked at Kenco.
I would like to leave you with this taster.
Okay.
Alan, you may recall, Frank made a joke combining Domestos, the product, with the character Davros from Doctor Who.
Yeah.
And he felt it was one of his finest ever jokes.
I thought my greatest work.
He was very pleased with himself, if I remember rightly.
Well, we've had some responses from the outside world.
Anything from Michael Wisher?
No.
Or someone who played Davros? Dead. I think dead, but you know.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Give me some Davros.
So,
and we will rule the world. Sorry. Very angry, Davros.
Al, this is Frank's ultimate fantasy. Not only is it potential praise with a Doctor Who theme. So, firstly, Simon Lee. I'll just share two with you.
Old Simon Lee, the huntsman.
Simon Lee says...
Anyone who got that, congratulations.
Hi all. Just finished listening to last week's podcast, and I have to agree that Frank's Domestos joke is one of the best I've ever heard. Okay,
Wow.
that's one.
I mean, amazing.
He won't like one of the...
It changed my life. I would say I had a road to Domestos experience.
Well, wait till you hear what Bob has to say.
Bob!
Fair play. Hearing Frank's Davros Domestos joke in real time was a privilege.
Oh, yeah.
Hashtag, where were you when Frank did the Davros Domestos joke?
Well, that's what I feel like. And it's much nicer than when Kennedy got shot. It's a more positive celebration of the human spirit and ingenuity
It is.
than blowing somebody's head off, for goodness sake. Anyway, I'm going to do one of these. Here we go.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever happened to people sleeping in the house with a newspaper over their face? My dad would come home, read the paper, and then, because we got the light on and that, and the telly, for somehow it blocked out everything, he'd lie back, put the newspaper over his, generally the Daily Mirror, and then he would sleep for like an hour or so, like that.
And sometimes you might spot a dad on the beach, I found.
Yeah, but on the beach you can see it as a protective thing. But this was just to keep the light out of his eyes. And I just wondered if anyone still does it. It was an incredible... The closest I've come, I spoke to Mo Farah once about sleeping in an oxygen tent, but it's not quite the same, is it?
No.
Much more
And
elaborate.
did he not get newsprint? This was in the days when the newsprint would
It was
have...
very hard to tell because we only washed our face about once a fortnight. So that wouldn't have been a big... we didn't often get
Was your
the...
dad a bath or a shower fan?
Look, can I be absolutely honest with
Yeah.
you? In order to get hot water in our house, you had to put the coal fire on to heat up the water. I would say by the time my brothers and sisters had left and it was just me, mum and my dad, I would say in a year, if we had 5 baths between us, that must have been a hell of a summer.
Wow.
Yeah, it wasn't a thing. We had stuff in the bath. It was a storage area. Times have changed.
Well, ours was a storage area. My parents kept alcohol in there sometimes
Did
on
they?
ice.
Or took
Yes.
Ass's milk. Ours was in the kitchen as well. There was the cooker and the bath in the same room. Anyway, look, you don't know hear about my.
I feel really humdrum now that my family used the bath as a bath.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
So boring.
I mean, it's if there's any young people listening, I think it's good to bathe or shower. I didn't get a toothbrush till I was 13. I'm not saying these are good things. I'm saying, we've progress.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Here's the thing. Here is a funny thing. I've got a dog now, and for the first time, there was remember my neighbour who brought round the alarm clock of human waste that time?
Yeah.
Yeah. And also obsessively sang the song Little Georgie Washington Never Told a Lie. Well, another thing, they used to come round, and when our dog went absolutely mad on the ladies' entrance, they would always... I mean, he did that to everyone who came to the house. He would go crazy.
Okay.
And she would say,
Right.
"Oh, he can smell our dog on me." She always said that. And this week, I was out with the dog and someone stroked and he went mad. She went mad. And the person said, "Oh, he can smell our dog on me." And it reminded me that the next door neighbour said it so much that I started, influenced by my regular Catholic mass going, I converted it to a sort of Gregorian chant. He can smell a dog on me. And I used to do it all the time. It became a sort of a tick of mine. He can smell. I'd forgotten all about it. So what everyday remark have you converted into a liturgical chant? Like 12:15.
Good
He can
texting.
smell a dog on me. Oh, marvellous. Anyway, what about this? Whatever happened to putting tea in the saucer if it was too hot and drinking it out of that?
Oh, yeah.
They don't do that.
Last of the
They
summer
don't-
wine.
They don't do that anymore, do they, Bab? Do they do it last of the summer wine?
Do
No,
they?
we all did. Everybody did it. I
Really?
mean, tea must have got a lot hotter in those days because I never experienced tea now and think this is utterly undrinkable.
So tell me what you did. You'd pour it in the saucer and drink it sort of like a cat.
No, we didn't know, but we were doing
Sort of pour it
practical.
into your face off a plate.
Yeah, it's like practical physics that if you increase the surface area, the temperature drops more quickly, which we didn't know it was doing it in those terms.
Shame we didn't have a jingle for a now for the science bit there.
Exactly, yeah. Popular science, as of course people call it.
Yeah, the other
that was a Brian
alternative
Cox moment.
Yeah, exactly.
is you could just wait for it to
Yeah,
cool
and
down.
we used to get our saucers and put tea in them, and we didn't know. We didn't. Yeah, we didn't know because it's not important. It just worked, Brian.
Brian, you're wearing that hoodie again. Come on.
And
Frank,
it's all maths. It becomes maths. We know that as soon as you get into it.
Yeah.
Science. So relax.
would you like to know the answer to whatever happened to people sleeping with a newspaper over their face?
Who wouldn't? 8, 12, 15.
Matt Henson.
Can you save it because the
course.
producer's doing oh come on because I'm going to go home. So because of that we're going to go have a short break and then we'll be back with the answer to do people still sleep with a newspaper over their face in a domestic setting.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Whatever happened to people sleeping with a newspaper over their face? Matt Henson.
Indoors this is.
Indoors. Matt Henson says they move with the times.
I mean it's very good. That's very, very fine.
Okay.
Quality
you.
that.
Yeah. That was a good one as well. See, that's it. You can't sleep with the Times over your face anymore because it's behind the paywall. It's true, though. I mean, if they're all going online and all that. You can always get your free papers now for sleeping stuff. I wonder if they actually absorbed any of the news while sleeping under it. The way there used to be a theory that if you put your homework under the pillow, when you woke up in the morning, some of it would have soaked into your brain.
I mean, if you ever had to do that, that really was the last refuge of the desperate, wasn't it?
Yes.
Bilbo Bakewell
Oh, good.
has got in touch regarding Sidewinder Sleeps Tonight.
The bit that sounds like coming to Jamaica. Coming to Jamaica. Coming to Jamaica. I've never known what that... Am I going to find out what he actually says now?
Bilbo has sorted this out for you. He says it's Michael Stipe is singing Call Me When You Try to Wake Her Up with the backing vocals of Call Me When You Try to Wake Her.
Oh, so he's actually saying, wow, how does he get it all in there?
Call Me When You Try to Wake Her
Up.
Well, 195 is suggesting that it's come on in, try to wake her up.
Come on and try to wake her up. No.
And 845, who I think might be having a shot in the dark, is suggesting, I always thought that song sounded like it was saying covered in charred bacon. I'm not sure that's
No, I
what it is.
don't know.
Sounds delicious.
We're getting into misheard lyrics here. I'm thinking it's a lyric that works a bit like a yard of ale. I don't know if you ever tried to drink a yard of ale, but it's all going very well. And then if you over tilt, you get a ball of like a tsunami of beer coming down the pipe towards you and you're in trouble. And it's a bit like this. The lyrics suddenly go, and it's all bursting out. We still don't quite know what he said.
Yard of ale is what you'd be spending your foreign coins on in that counterfactual outside the Bureau de Change, isn't it?
I didn't like drinking it by the yard. I found it was a bit showy.
I was on the plane back from Ibiza once and I sat next to a gentleman.
Legend.
Yes. I sat next to a gentleman who had a certificate he was showing me. It was an actual certificate for drinking a yard of ale faster than anyone else in his entire 1830s group.
Respect, can I say there is more to it?
Alan's actually clapping. Man.
Al didn't say legend, which is incredible.
No, he was so moved he could only applaud.
I just thought a moment of applause was relevant.
To the man's credit, I would say that there's more to drinking a yard of ale than just being able to drink that much beer. There is a technique to it.
Okay.
You gotta know your tilt angles. Yeah.
He seemed to be all over those.
Yeah.
We also have...
When you come back on the plane from Ibiza, do you see people with like a little bit of foam in their ear from a foam party? I love the idea of that. Are people in like normal clothes, or are they still just in like flowered shorts and beads?
Yeah, that sort of stuff.
He was in stonewashed denim.
Oh, okay.
You know, we're all God's children.
Yeah, well, we're not holding that against him. Did he have a certificate for that as well? To say where the stones were sourced from.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
We have from Juan Lyle.
Juan? Okay. Yeah, what's Juan Lyle got to say?
A suggestion incorporating an anecdote of mine with the Sidewinder song lyric.
Oh, okay.
Juan suggests playing back from Ibiza also fits very nicely.
It does
into
work
the
nicely.
R.E.M. song.
Playing back from Ibiza. Yeah.
I like that.
He can smell a dog on me. No, that doesn't work. It works better as a liturgical chant. He can smell a dog on me. Yes. Can he, though? Love Island's back when this week? We were just talking about that.
Well, it was Al, let's be honest, because he wanted to know the dates to set up his...
BBC are trying to bring out a less racy, sort of a more, they're doing River Island, apparently.
Oh, yeah.
There's people going in and trying...
I wonder what people will wear.
Yeah, exactly. Not overly expensive jackets and things they go and try on in there. It's lovely. A lot of brown wood, I always think, River Island.
Yeah.
Brown wood finish to their shops. Nice.
I've had people watching.
I think they're trying to give it a sort of Howard's Way theme, almost.
What,
sort
River
of life
Island?
on the river. Yeah, there's a slight nautical
I'd
vibe.
watch. If River Island was on one side and Love Island was on the other, I'd watch River Island.
Would you?
Such is my loyalty to. Is it St. Anne? Is it St. What's their brand? Is it St. Anthony or something?
Oh, do they?
You know when shops have got a brand that's different from their shop?
Like St. Michael.
St. Michael and
used to be
Marks and Spencer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a feeling that
They don't do that.
I think River Island has got its own name. Am I wrong? If there's anyone out there, I had a friend of mine used to window dress for River Island.
Okay, stop showing off.
Yeah.
Connected.
Yeah.
John Hopkins, boys.
Hopkins? Doesn't he call a lot, John Hopkins? Is he a regular?
Does, but not to a degree where it's disturbing. He's a lovely regular.
I think of it because I once saw a one-man play about the Victorian priest poet Gerard Manley Hopkins, which begins with him saying Hopkins, Hopkins over and over just to hear the sound of his own name. So every time you say it, I think of that. And this week I've actually done it out loud.
That was the Poetry Czar, everyone. Broadcasting to you live.
You bet you're a bippy.
John Hopkins has a lovely image of you sat outside the Smethwick Bureau de Change with a selection of hats to collect all your different currencies. He's suggesting beret for francs.
Francs, of course,
Fez for your Turkish lira.
Isn't the problem that they're all euros now, most of it?
Yes.
But he's unencumbered by these details.
Okay.
Sombrero.
That'll
Euro.
be Mexican pesos.
And bowler hat for sterling.
Very nice.
Oh, nice.
The only one that's still legal tender.
But if you collected outside the Bureau de Change, it wouldn't matter if some of your change was from overseas, because at the end of the night, at 1 minute to 5, you could nip into the Bureau de Change and get it all, become a little thing. Oh, here's Alfie. Here's Alfie
try,
with
but
the...
I bet they wouldn't take coins.
Really?
I bet they would.
Oh, you'd have to go on a plane and put them in that little envelope for the poor children. Oh, no. And how are you going to do that if you don't have any money? I mean, the whole scheme has fallen to pieces. Oh, sigh, exclamation mark.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. Text the show on 8 12 15. Follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio. Email the show about that via the Absolute Radio website. Sorry.
Al, I was going to say we've had contact. We've had contact from Helen Haywood. Thanks for the tip.
HH.
I'm trying to tell my partner the Domestos and Davros joke, but I can't remember it. Help.
Yeah.
Two exclamation marks.
It went like this. I think you brought up Davros, Emily, just in case anyone thinks I keep crowbarring in Doctor Who. And you said you never really see him at home, do you? You never see him relaxing. And I said, no, you never see the domestic life of Davros, or Domestos, as I like to call it. That was the joke. It fell off me like windfall fruit. There was no previous crafting that I was aware of other than my subconscious comedy genes. Okay. Have you seen my comedy genes? Stonewashed.
I mean, who knew we'd get the director's cut of the Domestos joke?
Yeah, I thought, it's sort of the commentary, DVD commentary on the Domestos joke. Yeah. Why not? It's fine. Now, I think we were going to talk about that dark-haired woman from Friends.
Oh, Courteney.
Yeah, you didn't do it.
No.
You're supposed to say Courtney Cox, and I say not lately. There's very few jokes. It's a poultry hunting joke. There are very few jokes that you can really lead people into. It's something I've discovered.
Why do you think I intentionally avoided that one?
If you say my dog...
Because of the nature of it.
If you say my dog's got no nose...
how does it smell?
What's the chances of someone saying, how does it smell?
Exactly why I'd never asked that question.
Yeah, it's very hard. If anyone's got any jokes where you can genuinely entrap the other person into giving you the feed line, I'd like to know what they are.
My wife's gone on holiday.
Yeah, but no one's going to say... My wife's gone to the West Indies.
Yeah.
Who's going to say Jamaica?
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah.
What about my wife's just gone to Italy? Do you know her? Should do. We've been married 6 years. And, of course, my wife's just gone to Indonesia. Jakarta. No, she went on an aeroplane.
Yeah. Okay. or of her own accord is that Jamaica? Yeah, we've got all of them here.
But people, what I'm saying about those jokes is that people don't say.
They don't take the bait.
Yeah, they don't say Jakarta if you said you've been to Indonesia. And they certainly don't say Genoa. It's generally pronounced Genoa. And for who would that be the first port of call if they thought of someone going to Italy? They'd say Rome or Venice or...
I'm not really sure people's general geography knowledge is good enough for these jokes.
No, but I'm on about... There are general jokes where someone, you take my holidays. I can't. I don't have time. That kind of people don't naturally lead you in. And I can try. I mean, I thought Courtney Cox was in with a chance there, but
no. I intentionally avoid those routes, Frank.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Anyway, Courtney Cox, in case you don't know, Courtney Bass Cox, I think she was christened.
Right.
Yeah.
Was she?
B-A-S-S. Could be bass.
She had anything to do with Lance Bass, the cosmonaut who used to be in one of those boy bands.
Cosmonaut?
Yeah. I know you always ask this and you say, what, is he Russian? No, he trained as a cosmonaut, Lance Bass.
Okay.
Google it.
Well, now
sounds fishy to me.
She's one of the Basscocks. Still, never mind the Basscocks.
Oh, Frank.
Let's get on. What she's done this week, we should say, Courtney, is, bear in mind, this is a woman who was in what would it be reasonable to call it the biggest sitcom of all time?
It's
Yes.
certainly one of, isn't it?
Yeah, she was in that for 10 years, and they all ended up on £1 million an episode, $1 million an episode.
Yeah,
not
it's
bad.
all right, isn't it? It's
But
not bad.
But now, I don't know how long it's been since it ended, but now she has been in an interview with Howard Stern, saying
1996.
that it still really gets on her nerves that she wasn't nominated for an Emmy in that time when all the other cast were. Now, she is my kind of girl. I love that is still gnawing. Oh, man. Good old Courtney.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Ultra Magnus has contacted us, one of our regulars. He says, calling Friends the biggest sitcom of all time is doing hashtag Shane a massive disservice.
Well, I think I'm probably on fairly safe ground. Just in case you don't know, I wrote and starred in a sitcom called Shane. I wrote 2 series and only one of them was broadcast. Over to you.
I think
And you do take a Courtney Cox public bitterness approach to
Exactly.
discussing it.
I do. I think this is what I like about, because Courtney could go on. I mean, she won other awards while she was doing that show.
She did.
And then she did like Cougar Town and won awards. But
Yeah.
I think
But
we
it's
can't get round the
still wins a lot.
fact. You don't have to dig very deep into this conversation where she mentions that, but all the others won them. And then she says, now I'd like to have been in the studio when she said this. She said, I was really happy for them.
Yeah.
I hope there was a silence in which she looked at Howard Stern and pulled a face of, I wasn't.
I mean, let's be honest. When I read that, I thought, yeah, it seems legit. Can you imagine now if, let's say, on Unplanned, David Baddiel had been nominated, the child who sung "It'll Never Work" in the opening credits, and perhaps a makeup artist had all been nominated for a BAFTA, and Frank hadn't.
I'd have been happy for them
Yeah.
to die. Let me finish my sentence, please. Okay. I must say, I never. Were you a Friends person, either of you two?
Yeah, I liked it.
Okay. Can I tell you?
Obviously, I was a bit. I found the title a bit alienating.
Oh yeah, in real life, mine have all gone, but I like the sitcom.
Yeah.
Frank approached it with the Captain Kirk. What is this concept of Friends you talk of?
Well, also, I remember there was a period when I thought it was the way the Friends logo is. There's like a dot between each letter. And I thought it was one of those shows where you would find out what the actual title was, and it was like, female, red, independent, etc., etc.
Approaching it like some robot or something.
No, but why has it got the dots?
F.R. dot.
Why the dots in the Friends
Does it
logo?
have dots?
It has a dot
does.
between each letter, yeah.
Do you know it was that 90s Comic Sans whole thing? You know, the fonts
Yeah.
were all over the shop.
Oh, it was a very bad font era, the 90s.
Yeah.
Can I tell you what I thought? I will.
Okay.
I feel Friends was technically faultless. I would call it the Pete Sampras of TV shows.
yeah.
Ooh.
I like my comedy a little bit more John McEnroe, a bit more Shane, a bit more
Hit and
Larry
miss.
Sanders. No, a bit darker
Right.
in areas and more
okay.
dangerous. I also had
Yeah.
an issue with the fact that, as we know in real life, people that good looking are never that funny. Okay?
Right.
So don't get the good-looking actors. Don't give them all these whip-smart lines.
I think ugly writers is the answer to that issue, obviously. And I find that's a general rule that people have gone with. I like that it's timeless message that good-looking people are never short of company. I think that's an important thing to hammer home to the world's youth.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
I was talking about the annoying fact that there are some jokes that you have to lead people into giving you the feed line, and often they won't do it.
Yeah.
For example, I went swimming yesterday and a crocodile bit off one of my toes. Nobody ever says which one, and then you can say, I don't know, those crocodiles all look the same to me. Maybe it would work if you lived near like the Amazon or something of that nature.
Yeah, Florida,
maybe.
somewhere like that.
Yeah.
Ian Stewart
we've
Dixon.
actually-
Oh, sorry, Al.
No, go on.
Oh, thank you, kindly, gentlemen. Ian Stewart Dootson has one for you both. He's even gone to the trouble of CCing Alan C, which I like.
Oh.
Let me see. Let me hand this over to you, boys. Re-prompting joke replies. Have you finished those chores yet?
Ah, what chores?
I'll have a yard of ale, thanks very much.
Oh, well, no one's ever said that. What about if someone said that? I'll get around you. What are you having, Paul? I'll have a yard of ale, please, Steve. Oh. That's opportunist.
Yeah. Yeah, if I was buying that round, I'd say it's very metric, this pub, I'm afraid.
Indeed.
No yards.
If you were buying a round, I think we'd all be on the floor, mate.
Money saving expert.
030 or 030, if you want to stick with it,
Yeah.
has sent us one of these jokes. With a bar person, this one works with a good lead-in. Order drinks at a bar, i.e. 2 lagers, cider, gin and tonic, Long Island iced tea, and a mataboo-boo. Said bar person is led into saying, "What's the matter, boo-boo?" At which point, respond with, "Nothing, Yogi. What's the matter with you?"
Yeah.
Do you get it? What's the matter, boo-boo?
I get it. No, I get it. You need to say, "What's the matter, boo-boo?" Why, no, you need to do all that. There's no need.
Yeah.
You see, I would go, what's the matter, boo? Hey, God, and all respect.
I think you're all right with "What a matter, boo-boo" if the barman is in his 60s.
Yes.
I don't know if Yogi Bear is well known enough to... I'm not just Yogi Bear, but Yogi Bear's assistant. You need to know his name as well. But, you know...
It's difficult, isn't it?
It is difficult.
We've also had a
sorry.
suggestion. You suggested that Friends had full stops after each of the letters, giving it a sort of a CSI feel.
Yeah.
And 630 has suggested forgettable relationships in endless 90s drama series.
That's it's a negative calling it a drama, but still quite clever though, I think.
It's definitely a comedy. I mean, now
I'm
they call
guessing it didn't
a
stand for
dramedy.
that.
You know, that's the new one, isn't it?
Was it? There used to be a thing Americans called them a warmedy.
Oh.
Which was a show which had a lot of warmth, and I think a lot of your modern, not your kind of Mrs. Brown's Boys, but your modern done without an audience sitcoms are based often they're comedians who really want to be actors, and so they keep it fairly drama based, so it might lead to other things.
We've also we've got another go-to trap joke. Okay, producer's waving the fez. I'm just going to get this in quickly, like Indiana Jones with the hat.
This is not
crank.
just after my lira. Go on, fire it off.
He's leaving Friday.
Who? Go on.
Robinson Crusoe.
Yeah, there you go. It's very. Again, there needs to be a knowledge of not only it's a sort of a boo-boo. It's a sort of a more literary version of boo-boo. Is that you need to know the sidekick as well as the main character.
Frank Skinner. Absolute Radio.
Do you know how much those friends got paid for that reunion? I do.
No, go on. Did they all get the same?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They always get the same. They're very good like that.
Oh, do they?
Okay.
They're like a handful for parish council. You know, they keep things fair. They basically had to sit on the sofa for 90 minutes and say we loved it, but they got $2.5 million each.
Did they really?
Yeah. Okay. How much would you
That's
and
all right,
David
then.
get for It'll Never Work?
No, we took them separately, but
I would love it if you did that again.
what I like about they have their cross to bear though. I can't think of any program where you see more pictures of one of the stars looking young and then a picture of them looking old right next. They really cannot stop that with Friends.
Yeah.
Oh, what happened to poor Matthew Perry? That picture. I mean, I didn't know Friends, but Emily and Sarah, our producer, were saying that Matthew Perry was he was the man. He was the funniest guy. I didn't realise that.
I think he was. Chandler was the... Well, he sort of altered our entire lexicon, essentially.
Did he?
Yeah, with the use of so.
Okay. In what context?
Well, in a very different context to how it had ever been used before. It's a sort of... how would you describe it, Al? It's a sort
Give
of...
us a par example, as we say at
like
the Bureau.
An intonation thing.
The intonation.
Give us an example.
A classic Chandler.
Yeah, I don't understand.
But do you not understand?
No, what do you mean he used
just
so
really
in a
emphasised
different
the
way?
word
Are you not
so.
familiar with the way he emphasised so? in
Well,
Friends?
if you are, why can't you give me an example?
Well, it's just a word. I'm so not doing that.
Oh, he did. Oh, he
That's
started
him.
that, did
Chandler
he?
invented that.
Whoa, well.
Okay.
That's,
We all clear on so?
that
Yeah,
puts him right
I
up there
found
with
that
Sir
so
Humphrey
tense a minute
Davy.
ago.
I found
Okay.
it very tense.
Interesting.
found it so tense.
Matthew, well, I just didn't
So-
understand it. I don't want to be one of those
I'm
people
sorry.
who pretend they understand something when they don't.
Is
We're not-
everyone so across that now?
I so get it.
Do you think
I
Courtney
thought
Cox
Graham
gets a lot
Norton
of
had-
emails?
Courtney Cox gets a lot of emails. From me,
Yeah.
she does.
Does
No, she doesn't. I always
just
thought
thought
she
we-
was very lovely lady.
I just thought with her initials she might get a lot of emails.
Oh, well, of course, they used to be my initials in the old days.
What would you say about this, boys? Daniel Skipsey. Is MASH, M*A*S*H, another acronym titled sitcom, an example
Yes.
of a warmedy?
Yes, it is.
Oh, what is it?
It's something
Military
hospital.
American...
No, it's not military American. Is it? It ends in hospital.
Okay.
It's something to do with the hospitals that move about following the zones of war.
Okay.
Okay. But yeah, that is but I think we've worked out that Friends isn't an acronym.
So not
We'll
an
get
acronym.
rid of the dots, guys. It's not too late. Call in those box sets. Have you got a box set of Friends, Em?
No.
Al?
No.
Okay. I've got... Nah, never mind.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
Can I ask you a Friends question?
Sure.
Sure.
Central Perks, which was like what the main, like the central, not in their flats place on Friends. Is that for me, unless I don't get it, is a lame kind of a pun, isn't it? Because it's based on Central Park, obviously. But what is what are the perks? What does that mean?
The coffee perks one up, I think.
Is that it? Is that the best they could come up for a joke that's going to be in every show?
I'm trying to help them out.
No. I
Why
mean,
don't, you should write them a letter or something.
do you think I have grounds for complaint?
Well, that's good.
That would have been a better title for the coffee shop.
Yeah.
We've had, I've just heard from David Baddiel, which always fills me with happiness. And
What's he complaining about?
he's not complaining.
Oh, okay.
He's just adding to the content this morning. And he has quite correctly pointed out that Chandler's intonation, he was more famed for the use of be E.g., could you be any more stupid? I don't know if that was aimed at me. I hope not, David, because I love you and adore you.
573 is the same point.
So that was Chandler, was it, who did that as well?
I would say...
I didn't realise they were such linguistic pioneers, the Friends cast.
I would say they're correct. I would say that doesn't make me incorrect, because I still would put So in the category of what I call the 90s irony emphasis. For example, previously one would say, oh my God. Now, since Friends, it's oh my God.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So that was Friends.
And then, of course, that travelled to OMG, didn't it?
There you go.
Am I right in saying that not at the end of something you've said that is Wayne's World, is it?
I think you're correct.
Please tell me that's
frankly.
Wayne's World.
I think there's a comedian who lays claim to that, who does
Really?
a bit on
So-called
Curb Your Enthusiasm. Is it Richard Lewis? I think he claims that he invented not.
Well, I do wonder that about, when someone
David
sits,
will know.
you sit in a bar with someone and they're turned away from you and you say, oh, nice to see you back. Did somebody write that? I mean, you're stealing someone else's joke if you do that. David Baddiel, by the way, on the subject of Courtney Cox being angry about not getting an Emmy, I'm sure he wouldn't mind saying... He wouldn't mind me.
Well, you know what? We'll soon find out.
He told me that when he watched the British Comedy Awards alone, and he found himself saying, "That's wrong, that's wrong," over and over. I hope he doesn't mind me telling that. I mean, that's something I love him for and identify with it.
And you know what? He was probably right on every count.
Well, the British Comedy Awards, I think it was on for 25 years, and I got one award in all that time, 25 years, and it was my golden age. But I do like the fact that it's no longer on, but the dude abides. So when you outlive the awards, maybe they should be minding their own business on their opinions.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. Text the show on 81215. Follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio. Email the show via the Absolute Radio website. Coincidentally, I know if you're on one of the Decade channels, you won't have heard, but on the main Absolute channel, we just played Dancing in the Dark. And I'm told by my producer that Courtney Cox, who we were just talking about, was in the video of Dancing in the Dark. Is that correct?
Good trivia knowledge.
She is. Here's a bit of trivia. What is Courtney Cox's connection with the band known as The Police?
And known as the Police, as opposed to the band who are indeed the Police.
Yeah, I just was trying to avoid saying what's her connection with the police, getting her a bad reputation.
They want to talk to her about the inquiry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it's either to do with, it's one of the triumvirate, I'm assuming. Is it a personal connection?
Yes, it's a personal connection.
Okay.
Is it a stepdad or something?
Sting,
I'm going to give
Andy.
Al that.
Are you?
Her stepdad is the uncle of Stuart Copeland, and I think she also went out with Aaron Copeland, maybe, or one of the Copelands. So she's all over the police like a rash.
You've a cheap suit.
Yeah.
You suddenly
Also-
got a lot of police intel.
I know.
Right?
Yeah.
Police intel.
I'm afraid we've been picked up quite a lot by the
Well, I never
outside
complained
world.
about that.
Have we-
I don't know if you remember, just a link or two ago, we were pouring scorn on the weakness of the pun of Central Perks, the cafe in Friends, and many people have texted in to say that they think it's a reference to the coffee machine, i.e. the coffee percolator, so Central Perks.
Yeah, and that rescues?
That rescues it, according to the 3,000 texts.
I mean, I would say it's a bit of a shaky life off, that one.
Yeah, I think when you've got a team of, I think, over 3,000 writers sitting in a room, and they say, here's a joke that's going to be in every episode, a shortened version of the coffee machine punning alongside Central Park is simply not good enough.
when
Any of our very, I think, brilliantly punning readers would like to offer what the coffee shop in Friends would have been called in an ideal world. You've got, New York and everything to choose from.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear from them.
Shame the Harvard lot. Can we please have a small interlude for what I call Badil Communication Corner?
Oh, okay. Can I say, I've got to tell you this. I'd said that thing about Dave saying that's wrong when he's watching the Comedy Awards, and I thought, is he going to be all right with me saying this? And then that moment when a text comes through, you can see the dots. These dots come up, which means the other person's writing the text. It's always a tense moment. Have you ever had those ones when you're looking at the dots, and then they've gone? So the other person thought...
Story of my life.
Actually, I won't bother.
Yeah.
I really want to text them then and say, what? Anyway, what does Dave say? Has he taken it well?
The 3 dots were completed.
Okay.
David Baddiel has this to say. Richard Lewis, you may recall you referred to him, Al. You said he claimed to have invented...
The not joke. Not!
David says, Richard Lewis claims to have invented From Hell, as in she was the girlfriend from hell.
Oh, okay.
Oh, really?
Great thing to claim to have invented. Brilliant.
Not was definitely Wayne's World.
Hooray.
Finally, I can confirm I did invent That's Wrong, That's Wrong. The British Comedy Awards.
Brilliant.
I love David Baddiel.
I love a sense of these ownership things. I remember the late Jeremy Hardy complaining that Jack T had stolen his timing. I mean, you're getting there into a fine area.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Ian Angle has some Central Perk suggestions.
Okay, I bet he does.
Renaming it.
How
about Has-Beens? Most American.
Because it has beans.
Most American thing I could come up with, or Al Pacino.
What would have been very good is if when they'd gone for the Friends reunion, they changed it to Has-Beens but hadn't told any of the cast. And they just sat there in front of them.
I'll be there for you.
Just put Has-Beens next to a boarded up Central Perk.
Yeah. But just sit them in front of the sign and they never notice, and they're talking reminiscent about the old days in a warm-hearted way. And they only find out when they pick their phones up after they got 9,000 texts. They missed an opportunity there of some note, I would say. By the way, did you know
that? We've had a good joke, I think.
Oh, go on.
I like it. 117 says, "Can you smell onions? No. What, not even up close? My husband Martin's favourite dad joke." I think that's quite good. I like it.
I think that's pretty good, and I think
I don't understand it.
Can you smell onions?
Well,
no.
It's because anything to do with onions, I can't even think about that.
Oh, well, fair.
You hate onions, don't you?
I don't just hate them. I mean, actually, I think about them a lot. I think about how much I love
mainly
them.
with hate.
Yeah. When you think about them, do your eyes water?
Do you know what? It's very layered. My approach to them. My feelings for them. There's a lot to unpack there.
No, I get it. Matthew Perry in the Friends reunion, by the way, there's a bit where he said, I found every time I did a joke, delivered one of the jokes on the show, I got incredibly, I thought I was going to die. I was so anxious that it might not get the laugh it was going to laugh. It was supposed to get. And weirdly, the cast was surprised. I thought, that's normal, isn't it?
Well, what Jennifer Aniston said after that, we were all so shocked that Matthew Perry, I mean, I felt like saying, can I introduce you to my colleague? Matthew Perry used to get into an anxiety state, and she said, we were astonished. I felt so sad that he felt like that.
What he hadn't realised is that you do actually die when you do a joke that doesn't work, incrementally. I would say every joke I've done that didn't work has taken perhaps 3 weeks off my life. Mm-hmm. I think that's just something you have to accept. I also read, what about this? Matthew Perry has just sold his penthouse in LA for, he's a flat, remember, $21.6 million. Wow. It's a lot of money for a magazine.
Oh, God.
See, I think I spoiled that by saying it was a flat. I took it away from the penthouse idea. Can we do that again, Steve? Because
somewhat ironically,
live.
You're experiencing a similar anxiety to Matthew Perry.
A little personal the 3 weeks gone.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Still, I'll think of the money I'll save on heating.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
To use a footballing term, not in the same league. Now.
Hey.
It's nice to give the runners-up a little outing now. Okay?
Exactly.
Yeah.
We've got some Central Park.
They were our John the Baptist, I think. they paved the way.
We've got some suggestions for, rather astonishingly, Frank has come up with the text in, which is, how can we improve?
Central Perks, a joke in every episode of Friends, which was a bad joke. Mm-hmm. I mean, the people who say, oh, well, it's about percolators, in that case, it should have been Central Perk. Then it would have been a better pun.
It was Central
Perks,
Perk.
wasn't it?
I thought it was Central Perk.
We'll ask Sarah.
Central Perk.
Oh, it was
singular.
Central Perk.
Yes.
Yeah, but do you trust Sarah?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, well, I'll give them that. Nobody got the percolator joke.
Well, I'll tell you what they have got.
Okay.
Well, I didn't.
Paul Kirkley, he's come up with...
Central Perkley?
No. Paul Kirkley's come up with...
Go on.
The unbearable likeness of Bean.
It's a little bit long.
I like it.
That's when
too long.
Mr. Bean started writing all those
Wouldn't it be
difficult novels.
It'd be great if Mr. Bean had a sort of Woody Allen, I'm going to do serious stuff from now on, and the unbearable likeness. Really psychological. Awful.
I just have an existential gloom.
Yeah. And like at the deathbed of his teddy bear, it opens like that. Oh,
Can you imagine? And they shot the whole episode in black and white, like a sort of Ingmar Bergman.
And he didn't pull any faces. He stopped doing that. He says that as he's sort of...
just see him sitting on a church bench with the bell chiming.
Oh, man. Anyway, that was for those of you who want to tune in to The Unbearable Likeness of Bean.
David of Stourbridge.
Stourbridge.
How you brewing?
How are you brewing?
Okay.
That's all right.
Quite like it.
I like it.
And Gary Burgess, American Espresso. I know it's espresso, but I've intentionally added the X, so is he, as a pun on American
Express? Oh,
American
yes.
Espresso.
Right.
Yes, okay. Well, keep them flooding in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Al's not impressed, I can tell.
Al, what was your issue with that one?
I'd like to lance the boil of something else, because we're getting a lot of texts about MASH saying Mobile Army Surgical Hospital.
Oh yes,
and,
that's what.
and
yes, I said it was about moving about in the theatre of war.
Yeah, that was specific.
Well, mobile is definitely
mobile. Come on, and hospital. I got the crux of it, but I didn't get the actual. Remember that the. Letter killeth, but the spirit giveth life, and I got the spirit of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to. Hold on, I've been shot up again. I mean, it's like trying to be funny through a portcullis. It's every time you take a breath, there's another piece of metal in the way.
You need to go down the Mr. Bean route and start exploring darker options.
Yeah, Mr. Bean's radio show would have been a pretty lousy thing, wouldn't it?
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
You were discussing earlier a hypothetical television show based on the popular clothing brand River Island. 306 has texted, "Morning all. Wouldn't River Island be the Hugh Fernley Whittingstall version with loads of people wearing lots of clothes making sausages?"
Well,
Because, you know, his thing is River Cottage, isn't it?
yeah,
So
but
River Island is...
do you think are they doing a gag, or have they got mixed up with River Island and River Cottage? What's your
No,
vote?
I think they're doing a gag,
Oh, fair enough.
implying that Hugh Fernley Whittingstall uses the word river before stuff. I think that's what they're doing.
Could it be something like St Anthony's or Sir Anthony's, their brand? The River Island brand. I'm still trying to remember it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yes. We were speaking of sitcoms. Now you may recall, Al, that every now and again, me and Emily,
Well, hurry up with the end of that sentence. for heaven's
Yeah,
sake.
I'm wondering.
we mention a sitcom we remembered as being brilliant, and that is Chance in a Million. And it's
Right.
one of those, I don't think either of us had watched it for probably 40 years. Anyway, I have discovered it on Forces TV. And Frank Skinner Forces TV, I think, as I've seen a headline like that in the past. But it's...
How's it working out
You
for
know
you?
what? It is good. It's good. I'd forgotten how much it was, I'm going to say, of its time. So there's a great many,
Problematic.
women trapped in their underwear in a lift with him and that kind of thing. There's a lot of
Right.
underwear. I'm more like, so I watch it with my partner. So
Oh,
so there's no risk of me at any point enjoying it, so I can feel okay. It's a bit like, remember AA films where you had to take an adult with you so you couldn't enjoy them? Yeah, it was. It's like that, and so I feel good about that. But it is funny, and Simon Callow and Brenda Blethyn are fantastic in it, I must say. So check it out. That's my. She's a sort of librarian, a sort of mousy librarian who's got a passionate inner life,
Yes.
which surprises you.
Yes.
It's a sort of Matt Hancock type
Oh, my God.
structure they've got to it.
glad he's been mentioned. Could he be any more of a hypocrite?
Well,
Look, hands off
Little
that
bit of
guy,
Chandler for you all
okay?
there.
I really like him. Not. Just get my eye. Can I ask though, on the subject, there is certain TV I would say I use.
We were on a break.
You know, yeah, I've used that. Actually. I have used that from friends. Chewing gum TV. This is what Terry Wogan said to me. TV is just like chewing gum. Do you ever have? Is there a program that you use as your on in the background, makes you feel happy, but you're not really giving it everything? For me, it's Allo Allo, which is on most nights. And even though there's like Nazis in it and stuff, it's a very sort of, there's a sort of very therapeutic feel to the show. It feels like it's from a time when things didn't need to be so fast and so...
And also, you love French accents, don't you?
Well, good moaning. The fact that bloke does that every show, he does the good moaning thing, is
very funny.
really... But I've always loved good moaning. It's amongst the funniest genre.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We've had a text from 570 that I'd like to bring to your attention. It's quite long, but it reads... Granted, I missed the beginning of this Central Perk chat, but why is it a bad joke? It's a double pun. It's because it's near Central Park and Perk. I'm guessing they mean the Perk. I think it's serendipitous, as it could mean perk for coffee perking you up, which is my misunderstanding. And also, what's the alternative if they want it to be a pun on Central Park? Central Pork? And
Well,
then they had the...
I don't see why they couldn't
they
have just
know-
met in a butcher's
Okay.
on the show. No, carry on, Al, there's more.
Let's all take it easy.
That's
No,
more.
the last bit is just a little bit of praise for us, even though it sounds like they're slagging us off. But
Okay, well, we'll leave that.
We don't read praise.
Yes, Well, obviously I think some people like Friends, and so they've lowered their standards on the Pond Judgment, is what's happened.
Okay.
They got the whole of New York that you can pun on, and with coffee. I mean, surely. A team of writers. How many did say 18,000 writers worked on
Something like that.
Yeah, on
I think
Friends.
that's ballpark estimate.
Yeah. Which ballpark? Would that be the Mets or the Yankees? Okay. So there's that. And I think we've finally got an answer to what the dots are on the Friends logo.
Yes.
Because I was saying, I thought maybe that it was an acronym and the FRI, etc., stood for something. But I think Emily might have a very intriguing answer.
Jane has been in touch,
Jane.
and she's forwarded some correspondence, which she's found on a sort of Reddit type forum, Quora, I think it's called.
Reddit.
Jane says a take on the dots between the Friends logo. Sorry, wrong emphasis there. The proposed theory, this is from a contributor on Quora, the proposed theory is quite probably true. The 6 dots between the letters in Friends are the colours of umbrellas which the characters were holding in the title song. Rachel and Ross red, signifying love, desire and passion. Joey and Chandler blue, signifying trust, faith, confidence between them. Monica and Phoebe yellow, showing conflict, as is relevant from the fact that Phoebe left Monica's apartment for the latter's controlling tendencies. Thank you.
I love that. I love that people have worked that out about the Friends logo. I don't care if it's not correct. It seems to be like a fabulous structure. I really want to watch the opening bits now and check their brolly colours.
Imagine what they've done with the opening credits of Shane.
Yes, which was a song written by the man who wrote and starred in it. I didn't, just turn up and act like those guys in Friends. Still, that's yet another comparison between Shane and Friends. Don't you just get fed up of them? I wish people had stopped doing that all the time.
Yeah.
And Courteney Cox Bromley, of course, as well.
Is she?
Well, she's from Birmingham, Alabama. I don't know if they call do they call it Brom?
You can't claim that. It's ridiculous.
I'd love to know if they call them Brommies from Birmingham, Alabama. There'll be someone will know. Anyway, look, enough of this. Thank you so much for listening to us today. Mucho apreciatum. And I have to say good luck to England on Tuesday. If England can beat Germany, I will feel that the perfect summer that Germany took away from me in '96 has been returned. Anyway, don't forget you can also download the latest episode of my poetry podcast every Wednesday from wherever you get your podcasts. Sort of about that. I think we've covered all the flags and all the references to the forthcoming week. I thank you so much for listening to us today. And if the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. Now get out, all of you.